Captain David Hart-Dyke is sitting on the hull of his ship. Well, what's left of it. HMS Coventry is already leaned over, 45 degrees into the South Atlantic. Smoke drifts low across the water. The ship makes this slow, sick sound, metal giving up, one bend at a time. He doesn't move, just sits. Like if he stands, the whole thing becomes real. Around him, life rafts bob in the chop. Most of his crew are in them, cold, soaked, alive. Most. 19 aren't. And the part that keeps replaying isn't the explosions. It's the moment right before them. 4 blips on radar, 2 ships, 1 window where anything he does matters. He had seconds to pick the move that gave them the best shot. He ordered the turn, the by-the-book turn, the one that should have opened the angle for his missiles. 19 seconds later, 19 men were dead anyway. That's the kind of day this was, where right doesn't save everyone. It just tells you what you have to live with. 6 hours earlier, bridge of HMS Coventry, May 25th, 1982, Falklands War, South Atlantic. Hart-Dyke is alert, not rattled. There's a difference. His crew moves like a crew that's done this drill until it's muscle memory. Sea Dart missiles, long-range air defense, modern radar, a ship built for this exact job. Earlier, British Special Forces had passed a warning. Argentine aircraft were up, headed toward the task group, so Coventry and HMS Broadsword move in closer to the islands. Intercept posture. If anything comes through, they want first look and first shot. And lately, that rhythm has almost started to feel normal. Contacts pop up, sometimes they fade, sometimes they turn away, sometimes the threat never gets close enough to touch them. Tense work, controlled. He checks with radar, scans the horizon, calls over to Broadsword to confirm spacing. Everything is placed where it's supposed to be. 4 contacts, bearing 225, range 30. The call cuts straight through the bridge noise. Hart-Dyke doesn't wait. Action stations. Alarms roll through both ships. Sea Dart launchers swing. Radar operators tighten up on their screens. This is the moment they've been built around. Then the contacts vanish. Lost them over Pebble Island. Pebble Island, right there. Too close for comfort. That's the first crack. The Skyhawks are flying low, hugging the terrain. Smart flying, it keeps them hidden until the last stretch. And Sea Dart has a problem with that. Minimum range. If the aircraft are already on top of you, you can't just fire and pray. So you get 1 window. Maybe. Hart-Dyke grabs the radio. Broadsword, what's your status? Broadsword carries Seawolf, short range, built for the knife fight. That's the safety net. The plan is clean. Coventry takes the long shot. Broadsword catches whatever slips through. On paper, it holds. Right now, it has to. The Skyhawks pop back up. 2 hostiles, bearing 192, low level, closing fast. Hart-Dyke feels the tempo change. Not panic, just the clock tightening. And then a complication that shouldn't exist at this distance. A British Harrier is in the same piece of sky, about 20 miles out, same general direction as the inbound tracks. Fire a Sea Dart now, and there's a chance, small but real, that the wrong aircraft gets touched. Wait, and the Skyhawks slide inside Sea Dart's usable range. Then the missiles might as well be ballast. He's got maybe 10 seconds where the decision still matters. Turn the Harrier away. Prepare to fire. The Harrier pilot breaks off hard. Clear the lane. The missile team works for the lock. Hart-Dyke watches the range collapse. 15 miles. 12. We can't get a lock. It lands like a bucket of cold water. The Skyhawks are too low, skimming the surface, wrapped in sea spray and clutter. On radar, they blend into the waves, just noise where a target should be. Sea Dart was supposed to be the clean answer. Now it isn't an answer at all. 10 miles. 8. And for the first time, he can see them with his own eyes. The long-range layer is gone. Too close. Too low. Which means the plan collapses down to its second half, Broadsword. On Broadsword's side, Seawolf finally finds them. The operators call a lock. For a beat, it looks like the safety net holds. Then the system treats the two Skyhawks like one contact, one blob. And then the blob splits. 2 aircraft, 2 tracks, 2 sets of math the computer has to solve instantly. It tries, and the system crashes. The missiles are not responding. Hart-Dyke hears it over the radio. The voice is flat, but you can hear what's underneath it. Restart them, he snaps back. Not because he thinks there's time, because there's nothing else to say. But there isn't time. The second line of defense just folded. Now it's guns, manually aimed, short range, last resort. Visual contact. You don't need binoculars anymore. 2 A-4 Skyhawks, low and fast, coming straight in. Every gun on Coventry opens up. The 4.5-inch, the smaller mounts, tracers stitching across the water, men on deck grabbing rifles, because when the last systems fail, you use whatever you can hold. The sea around the jets erupts in white splashes, and from inside that storm of fire, one of the pilots, Carballo, sees the pattern tighten, the aim improving. He doesn't keep coming straight. He can't. He jerks the jet sideways, away from Coventry's guns, and angles toward Broadsword instead. Carballo and Rinky line up on Broadsword. They come in low enough that it feels wrong, like the ocean is going to grab the wheels. Bombs away. They hit the water and skip, once, twice, like stones thrown hard across a pond. One drops short and disappears. The other slams into Broadsword's hull, punches through metal, deflects upward, tears out through the deck, and tumbles back into the sea. No explosion. For a moment, nobody breathes. Then the realization hits like warmth. They lived. On Coventry, you can feel it. This wave of relief that isn't joy, just survival. Broadsword got lucky. They all did. The Skyhawks roar away and climb out. Gone. Hart-Dyke lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding. His hands tremble slightly. He forces them steady on the rail. And then the radar operator speaks again. 4 contacts now on screen. 4. 2 more Skyhawks behind the first pair, Velasco and Barrio Nuevo. And they're still coming. Now all 4 tracks are in play. The first pair pulling out and regrouping. The second pair still closing. No more mystery, just speed and distance. Hart-Dyke looks at the geometry and makes the call he's been trained to make. Turn to starboard. It's doctrine. Present the ship the right way. Open the angles. Give Sea Dart the best firing solution you're going to get. The hull leans as Coventry comes around. On the consoles, the missile team fights for a lock. Locked on. He doesn't hesitate. Fire! A Sea Dart erupts off the launcher. Bright flash. Smoke. Then it's gone, racing low over the sea toward the incoming Skyhawk. Velasco sees it and drops even lower. Lower than feels possible, almost pinned to the water. The missile loses him, slides past, hundreds of meters off, and keeps going like it's chasing a ghost. One shot. Gone. And while Hart-Dyke is watching that miss, another system on the other ship finally wakes back up. On Broadsword, Seawolf comes back online. Screens flicker. Operators snap in, grab the targets, start to swing the launcher, and then Coventry finishes her turn. Straight into Broadsword's line of fire. Over the radio, Broadsword's captain is suddenly yelling, "Coventry's in the way! She's in the way!" Hart-Dyke gets it instantly. The same turn that should have helped his missiles just blocked the only working close-range system they have left. He doesn't have time to unwind the ship, not with jets this close. 3 miles. 2. Now it's down to steel, eyesight, and whatever still fires. All turrets, fire at will. The main 4.5-inch gun swings and starts throwing shells. The splashes walk across the water, off to the right. Not where the jets are. The crew adjusts. Too late to do it calmly. One of the 20mm mounts jams. Men wrench at it, hands moving fast, training, fighting panic. It doesn't clear, so sailors grab rifles, not as a plan, as a reflex, because something has to go back at the aircraft coming straight at them. Velasco keeps coming. At this distance, you can see the shape of the jet, the canopy, the hard angle of the wings. His 20-millimeter cannons open up. The rounds rake across Coventry's deck and superstructure. Sharp, fast impacts, metal sparks. Men duck behind whatever they can find. Then the bombs drop. 2 of them, heavy, clean arcs through the air. They hit the ship with a hollow, dead sound, like a door slammed deep inside the hull. No explosion. For a heartbeat, nothing happens. Brace! Brace! Men press flat to the deck, hands over helmets, waiting for the blast that doesn't come. A few seconds stretch out, just long enough for a dangerous thought to form. Did they fail? Someone starts calling damage over the intercom, words half caught, half lost. Then both bombs detonate. The first blast tears through the hull just below the bridge, punching fire up through compartments and passageways. The operations spaces fill with smoke and flame in an instant. The second goes off forward, in the engine room. Power dies. Systems go dark. The ship loses propulsion, and the sense of control disappears with it. Hart-Dyke is thrown, ears ringing, vision washed out by smoke. When he pulls himself up, the deck isn't level anymore. It's tilting, steadily, like the ship is deciding which way the world is now. Screams somewhere close, somewhere far. He reaches for the intercom. Dead. The hull groans under him, metal folding into a new shape. He doesn't get to think about the missiles anymore. He just has to get people out. Hart-Dyke moves through corridors full of smoke, one hand sliding along bulkheads, feeling for doors, ladders, anything that still leads up. He's running on training, not bravery, training. He finds an exit and shoves through it. Cold air hits his face like a slap. South Atlantic wind, raw and wet. He steps onto the deck, expecting chaos, and for a second, it isn't there. What he sees is discipline. Men hauling injured shipmates up from below, others already working first aid, life rafts being launched cleanly, survival gear passed hand to hand like it's routine. They drilled this, over and over. Even now, fires burning, the ship listing, sections of it already lost. This part still works. Hart-Dyke watches his crew do exactly what they were trained to do, and it's almost unbearable because it means the ship can be dying and the Navy still runs on procedure. 170 of them will survive because of that procedure, and 19 won't. 19 caught where the blasts hit hardest. Operation spaces, machinery spaces, places you don't outrun when steel turns into pressure and fire. The deck shifts again. The list deepens. Hart-Dyke's legs finally give him a warning. He sits because he has to, not because he wants to. One by one, his men abandon ship. Orderly, professional, quiet in the way only trained people can be quiet when they're scared. And somewhere, under the noise of wind and alarms, the same thought keeps pressing in. He made the calls you're supposed to make. Clear the Harrier, try the sea darts, trust Broadsword, turn to starboard for the best shot. Defensible decisions, correct decisions. 19 men dead anyway. He can't process it yet. The ship is still groaning, still sinking, but the weight is already there, settling into his chest like cold seawater. The last raft goes over the side. Now the deck is empty. Hart-Dyke is alone up there, with the ship tilted hard beneath his feet. He climbs to the highest point, what used to be the side of the hull, now angled like a ramp, and he sits. Smoke drifts across the water. The metal groans again, slower now, like the ship is running out of ways to stay together. The South Atlantic is cold and gray and indifferent. Below him, rafts rise and fall in the swell. His men, alive, being picked up by Broadsword, by helicopters. He looks back at what's left of Coventry, and his mind goes right back to the decision that started the countdown. 4 hostiles, 2 ships, 1 clean window. He chose the starboard turn to open his own firing solution, and by doing that, he blocked Broadsword's Seawolf when it finally came back. Should he have seen that coming? Could he have seen it coming? Sea Dart should have worked. Sea Wolf should have worked. The guns should have worked. Instead, everything failed in sequence, like dominoes. 19 seconds, maybe less, from the order to turn to the bombs hitting home. And somewhere else, far from this freezing water, those 4 Argentine pilots are landing. Carballo, Rinque, Velasco, Barrio Nuevo. All of them made it back. They flew through a wall of fire and did what they came to do. Hart-Dyke did too. He didn't freeze. He didn't gamble. He didn't go off script. He did what a captain is trained to do when the sky fills up and the clock runs out. 19 men still died. And that's the part people miss when they talk about leadership like it's a shield. Sometimes all it does is decide the shape of the loss. A helicopter thumps closer. Time to go. Hart-Dyke climbs down into the last raft. Last man off. That rule matters, even now. As they pull away, he doesn't turn to look back. He doesn't need to. That image is going to show up later, every time the world goes quiet.